The news of the Boston Marathon bombings circled the globe and resonated in Dagestan, a majority Muslim republic in Russia, on the shores of the Caspian Sea. Last year, Tamerlan Tsarnaev, the older of the two brothers suspected of the bombings and a longtime Boston resident, returned to Dagestan, where he had lived for a year during his youth. He largely stayed in the capital, Makhachkala, where he lived in this apartment with his father. He attended this conservative mosque. Hassan Mohammedovich, the imam, does not remember Tsarnaev. He says members want Sharia law, but oppose violence.
Here in the mosque, there are no extremists. There is no one person with the extremist position. We are oddly only smart, literate, well-educated Muslims.
Off camera, one mosque member said he thought that Tsarnaev was framed by American security services. This view was pushed here by Tsarnaev's mother, Zubedat. Later she told reporters that her son's greatest influence in Dagestan was a cousin, Mohammad Kartashov, head of the Union of the Just, a pro-Sharia group in the town of Kizlyar. VOA drove 2 hours north and talked to Rasim Ibadanov, a Union of the Just leader. He remembers Tsarnaev as a happy, humorous person.
When we found out from the first source that it was Tamerlan Tsarnaev, that was a huge shock for us.
Ibadanov says his group walks a fine line, advocating Sharia law, but promoting nonviolence.
Yes, we say that we want to live in a Sharia society, but we aren't calling for some kind of destabilization or overthrow of the government, or any other kind of radical or extreme actions.
Kartashov could not be interviewed. His lawyer said he was in a prison hospital, recovering from a police beating. Ibadanov says police are jailing a non-violent man and claiming he was a radical mentor to Tsarnaev.
We think that they are trying to discredit him and claim that he is some kind of illogical extremist and that he had some effect on radicalizing Tamerlan Tsarnaev.
But extremist attacks and counter-terrorist operations are weekly events in Dagestan. Returning to Makhachkala, we passed through Cherkey. Last August, a suicide bomber killed 6 people here, including one of Dagestan's most revered moderate Muslim leaders. Further down the road, at Buynatsk, we arrived hours after a policeman and a civilian were killed in a police car. Before that, security officials had blown up a house of suspected extremists. Zareva Bhagavotdinova runs a human rights group for conservative Muslims in the city.
They called and said they supposedly found explosive materials that they couldn't defuse, and that they blew them up together with the house.
Analysts believe that Tsarnaev came to Dagestan from Boston with radical worldviews formed from the internet. Here in Dagestan, he saw that some people try to settle religious and political disputes with bombs. James Brook, VOA News, Makhachkala, Dagestan, Russia.